Grandma just grandma.
All right, good morning to everyone. Welcome to Cornerstone this morning. Glad to see each and every one of you here. And a couple things by way of announcement. First of all, Lorraine told me the cookie project is on hold. So any of you who are baking cookies or thinking about it, that is on hold for the moment. They're not sure if they can get the cookies into the prisons. We will let you know if that changes. Hopefully they will figure something out. But we're going to do a few songs this morning. Glad to have everyone here. And
all right, if you'd like to stand and sing with us, first song we're doing is Come Now Is the Time to Worship.
now is the time to worship. Come, now is the time to give your heart. Come, just as you are to worship. Come, now is the time to give your heart. One day every tongue will confess you are God. One day every knee will bow. Still the greatest treasure remains for those who gladly choose you now. Now is the time to worship. Come, now is the time to give your heart. Come, just as you are to worship. Come, just as you are before your God. Come. Willingly we choose to surrender our hearts. Willingly our knees will bow. With all our heart, soul, mind, and strength, we gladly choose you now. Now is the time to worship. Come, just in the time to give your heart. Come, just as you are to worship. Come, just as you are before your God. All right. Once again, glad everyone here, and we're really blessed this morning to be in the house of the Lord. There's so many things going on around here, and I just think of every day of how blessed we are.
Oh, my mic was off that whole time. Okay.
All right.
It
got
sounded
that fixed?
I heard you guys, yeah. All right. Blessed be your name in the land that is plentiful, where streams of abundance flow. Blessed be your name. Blessed be your name
Though I'm found in the desert place, though I walk through the wilderness, blessed be your name. Every blessing you pour out, I'll turn back to praise. When the darkness closes in, Lord, still I will say, blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your glorious name. Blessed be your name when the sun's shining down on me, when the world's all as it should be. Blessed be your name. Blessed be your name on the road marked with suffering. There's pain in the offering. Blessed be your name. Every blessing you pour out, I'll turn back to praise. When the darkness closes in, Lord, still I will say, blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your glorious name. You give and take away. You give and take away. My heart will choose to say, Lord, blessed be your name. You give and take away. You give and take away. My heart will choose to say, Lord, blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your glorious name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your glorious name. Before the throne of God above, I have a strong and perfect plea, a great high priest whose name is love, whoever lives and pleads for me. My name is graven on his hand, my name is written on his heart. I know that while in heaven he stands, no tongue can bid me thence depart. No tongue can bid me thence depart. When Satan tempts me to despair and tells me of the guilt within, upward I look and see him there, who made an end to all my sin. Because a sinless Savior died, my sinful soul is counted free. For God the just is satisfied to look on him and pardon me, to look on him and pardon me. Behold him there, the risen Lamb, my perfect, spotless righteousness, the great unchangeable I am, the King of glory and of grace. One with himself I cannot die, my soul is purchased by his blood, my life is hid with Christ on high, with Christ my Savior and my God, with Christ my Savior and my God. One with himself I cannot die, my soul is purchased by his blood, my life is hid with Christ on high, with Christ my Savior and my God, with Christ my Savior and my God. All right, if you guys would like to pray with me real quick. Dear Lord, thank you for all the things that you do for us. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to come here in your house and worship you. It's like that song said, before your throne is where we come, and we come to talk to you and for consolation and to ask things, and sometimes we don't know what to say, but we just thank you for all the stuff you give us, all the stuff you do for us. And I pray that that this morning that we worship you in spirit and truth, that we can lift our eyes to you and focus on you this morning, because it is all about you, and it's all about your Son Jesus. In the name of your Son Jesus Christ, amen. Softly and tenderly Jesus is calling, calling for you and for me. See on the portals he's waiting and watching, watching for you and for me. Come home, come home, ye who are weary, come home. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling, oh sinner, come home.
Why should we tarry when Jesus is pleading, pleading for you and for me? Why should we linger and heed not his mercies, mercies for you and for me?
Come home, come home, ye who are weary, come home. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling, oh sinner, come home. Time is now fleeting, the moments are passing, passing from you and from me. Shadows are gathering, deathbeds are coming, coming for you and for me. Come home, come home. Ye who are weary, come home. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling, oh sinner, come home. Oh, for the wonderful love he has promised, promised for you and for me. Though we have sinned, he has mercy and pardon, pardon for you and for me. Come home, come home. Ye who are weary, come home. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling, oh sinner, come home. Thank you. You may be seated.
All right, this morning we have Kelli Viscounte here from Love Our Community, and she's going to come up and give us a presentation, talk about their mission, what they're doing in the community, and this month, of course, we're focusing all month on missions, and after she speaks, we're going to give you some time. If you have a question, she's going to answer those questions, so think about that while she's speaking. If you have something you'd like an answer about, you'll have the opportunity to ask her.
Better? Okay. Awesome. All right. Oh, I guess I have to put this on here, huh? All right. Oh my gosh, it's been so long since I've been like out and seen people in a social setting, in a gathering setting. So thank you for having me this morning. And it's good to be back. It's been a while since I've been here too. Have some changes, some things to share, some exciting changes to share with everybody. So, all right, Katie, let's see if this works, right? So I'm Kelli with Love Our Community. We're trying to see if our slide advancer works. Enter. Let me try this. Try this one here. What do you think, Katie? Oh, did you do it? Okay. I'm like, I wasn't pushing anything. So, how many of you have heard of or know or have been part of Love Our Community? Yeah, almost everybody in here. I bet everybody in here in one way or another. So really, Love Our Community is about you. and it's about me, and it's about our neighbors. And most importantly, it's about God. And you'll hear me say a lot, love God, love people, the end. Like, that's it. Everything that we are commanded to do fits under those two things. Love God, love people. And you'll also hear me say sometimes, not just people that look like us or act like us or always make the choices that we make, but get in the mess with people. Because there's nobody that got more in the mess with people than Jesus, right? Right. So that's what we seek to do at Love Our Community, is to love God first and to love our neighbors. Go ahead, Katie. All right. So our vision is to love our neighbors, really and truly. I mean, that's the bottom line. Go ahead, Katie. Started in 2016 with an egg hunt. And you all have heard this story, or most of you have heard this story. But just a quick recap. Egg hunt. Crazy thought, let's do it together. That egg hunt, that simple, tiny thing birthed a nonprofit that now exists in our community to meet needs and fill gaps for our neighbors. So encouragement to all of you, and especially any of you young people in here, don't ever think that your small idea is insignificant or that something is maybe just a little too out there. If God puts it in your heart, he will work out the details. Go ahead, Katie. All right. I'm going to put my glasses on. I know this, and I know the colors, but I can't see it very well. So this is just a little infographic of how we connect in the community. So then that middle part you can see is that egg hunt. But that egg hunt birthed all of these things. We have mental health and physical health, connecting people to mental and physical health. We have our LOC warehouse, which we'll talk a little bit more about. Our holiday events, which look a lot different this year. Unfortunately, our summer meals and our holiday events are looking different this year due to COVID, but still existing. And then our community-based response to homelessness and housing insecurity. We're going to talk a lot about that today because we've had some very exciting changes, challenging changes, but exciting changes that have come with that. Go ahead. All right, so here's the bottom line. Right now, we exist in Lake Township. So Love Our Community is Lake. So we care for people that live in our community, work in our community, worship in our community, or go to school in our community, okay? The future is that we would love to see the model that we're creating be able to be replicated in other communities. So truly, neighbors are taking care of neighbors, which is what God called us to do, right? My goal, not yet, my goal is that we don't exist. Because this is a really important one, so thanks for going back, Katie. This is really important. My goal is to work myself out of nonprofit existence because it happens organically. It happens just from neighbor to neighbor to neighbor. That when neighbors see a need, they're willing to meet a need. And more importantly, we feel okay to say we're not okay. That's one of the challenges that we face in communities like ours. We do a really, really good job of saying, I'm fine. How are you? Great. Good. Fine. Everything's okay. And behind closed doors, it's not. We want to be a community that loves in the mess, that's willing to be vulnerable and say, I need help. Okay, go ahead, Katie. What's this look like? A shelter? What'd you say? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. What does that look like? Oh my gosh. Yes, that's good. That's good. Do I need to stay here? Do I need to stay right here? Okay. Okay. All right. I'm a walker. So what about the next one? What's this look like? Truck. Anybody like to have that truck? Yeah? Nate's like, yeah, I'll have that truck. Yeah? Back there, you want that truck? Okay. What if I told you that was somebody's house? Somebody's house. It's where somebody sleeps. Go back one for me, please, Katie. This is somebody's house. Guess where this is? I'm not going to tell you exactly where it is, but it's right here. Right here in our community, not far. I got a call about 9:30 from a community member and said, hey, I think there's somebody sleeping outside. So it was dark and cold, of course, because we don't come out during business hours, right? Because things only happen between 8 and 5, right? So we're tromping around out there trying to find this person. We found, obviously, where they're sleeping. Go ahead, Katie. Go back to the truck for me, yeah. Same thing here. This is here in our community, in our parking lots. Parking lots right around here. When you ask people that struggle with housing insecurity, right? So we know food insecurity, housing insecurity. When you ask people if you would rather have your house or your car, guess what they say? They do. Why do you think that is? You can get around, you can get your job, yep. You can sleep in your car. It gives them a greater sense of hope to sleep in their car. Go ahead, Katie. So poverty. Lots of things can affect poverty. What's the number one thing that you think affects poverty? How do people become homeless? What's the typical homeless person look like? Job loss? It is now. It is now, for sure. Veterans? Yep. Poor? Yes. Seniors. You know what? We started our summer meal program in 2016. That same summer that we had the egg hunt. And I asked this crazy question, like, what happens to our students in Lake Township during the summer that are on free and reduced lunch? There were over 700 of them here in our community. And the answer was, they can go to Ravenna or Canton or Akron and I'm like, nope, not happening, right? So we started our, and you guys have participated in that. You've come to that. The thing that was a surprise for us were the number of senior citizens that came. Some were hungry, but some just wanted companionship, right? Wanted somebody to talk to, somebody to connect with. So poverty, homelessness, poverty, lack of affordable housing. Average, 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment, about 700 or 800 square foot here in Lake Township is $700 to $1,000 a month. Job loss, lack of health care, mental illness, substance abuse, and domestic violence. These are just some of the things. And I'll tell you also, since COVID, so it used to be, I would say, okay, so we have this suburban homelessness, right? So, because homelessness looks different in communities like ours. You don't see people on the street, do you? You don't see people on the side of the street with signs. Some of the people that we think are homeless in our community, because we see them walking a little bit often in our community, are not homeless. So it looks very, very different. With COVID, what has happened is people that were living better than paycheck to paycheck are now experiencing housing insecurity because of job loss. The utilization of fish, of our food pantry, of needing help with utilities. And that's going to continue, you guys. So we're trying to figure out, how as an organization do we scale ourselves? How do we bring more people in to the conversation? Because this conversation is hard. Because a lot of times in our head, when we think about homelessness, when we think about people struggling with housing insecurity, we see that person begging on the side of the street, or we think about a drug dealer or an addict or somebody with mental health issues. Well, let me tell you, we have that here in our community. And we're still called to love them, to get in the mess with them. But a lot of times what happens here is people don't want to share their struggles because they're afraid of being judged. And I could tell you story after story after story of people that have said, I want to tell my story here, but I'm afraid. We've had people say, not in my backyard. I don't want this in my backyard. And I get it. Guys, we get it. It's scary when you get in the mess with people. But I want us to be a community. God wants us to be a community that says, not in my backyard. Not in my backyard will anybody struggle. Not in my backyard will anybody be hungry or homeless or isolated. We need to be those NIMBYs. I didn't even know that was a word. You guys know that's a word? NIMBY. Not in my backyard. And we're seeing this more and more and more because of COVID. Go ahead, Katie. What's this? Storage unit. Also someone's house in our community. Go ahead. What's this? See the fold-out couch? This is what homelessness looks like most of the time in suburban communities. There is a term called hidden homeless. So you don't see it. It's what we just talked about, right? It's hidden. People hide. They don't want you to know that they're struggling. But this is what it looks like most of the time. There's families that are doubled up. Something happens, there's a job loss, or there's a change in relationship status, and they move in with friends or family. I'll tell you, people, families, children sleeping on someone's couch are not eligible for homeless services in Stark County. According to HUD, you are not homeless if you are sleeping on someone's couch. You can't even register with the homeless hotline if you are sleeping on someone's couch. Now, people that have done this, and you may have maybe some experience, maybe when you had to live temporarily with a relative, or it's not stressful at all, is it? No. People will tell you that double up, they'd almost rather be in a shelter, because there you know the rules. There you know what's expected of you. And oftentimes, believe it or not, there's emotional and relational challenges within families, right? And that gets trickled down to that family that's living there. And they could very easily walk in that day and have those folks that truly do love them say, listen, I can't do this anymore, you need to go. This is what homelessness looks like in our community. Go ahead, Katie. All right, I'm going to play a video for you here in a second. These are all people from our community representing stories from our community. Okay, it's called the We Stand Project. So you're going to get to hear some real life stories of people here in Lake Township that have experienced homelessness, housing insecurity, and that have struggled. You'll see a little bit of, you're going to see a man telling a woman's story, or a child telling a grown-up story. And part of that is, well, all of it actually, is because of what I said earlier. I can't ask people to be on camera and share their story because they're afraid. So this We Stand Project, these community members, so the people agreed that we could share their story in an anonymous way. So these are community members that have agreed to do this. So go ahead. It worked before. So believe very, very much that it's the stories that change us.
I'm a mom and pregnant, and I am homeless.
Our house flooded. We need an emergency place to stay.
One of the things that we know about housing insecurity, especially in communities that are suburban, is that it's a hard thing to talk about. It's challenging, and it's often hidden and unseen. So in an effort to try to share the real life, everyday experiences of families, we came up with the We Stand Project.
I am a dad.
I had a wife and 4 kids.
We are homeless. I worked and was injured.
My wife works in the community. Our kids go to school here. We are homeless.
I am a senior in high school. I am homeless.
So We Stand. We Stand is a way for us to creatively tell the stories of families experiencing housing insecurity or homelessness in Lake Township.
I am a wife. I have struggled for many years with feeling good about myself. I am married and have 4 boys. I am the main provider for my family. We are homeless. The kids and I have stayed with multiple friends. My husband stays other places.
I'm a college graduate and a business owner in this community. I am homeless.
These are folks that live here in our community that are experiencing housing insecurity, and then there's folks that are going to stand in that space for them and tell their stories.
I am a graduate of our local high school. I played football and I've been living in the woods, right here, because I am homeless.
Don't cry.
We are a family, 2 kids, and our pets. Our house caught fire
And was completely destroyed. We are homeless.
I went to school here. I was just released from county jail. I'm homeless, sleeping on couches here. I have no clothes or food.
This is an opportunity for this community to stand in that space for others and tell their stories. All of the stories are real stories. They're all people that have been affected by housing insecurity in our community. But what you're gonna find is that it may be, for example, a young girl telling the story of the business owner in our community that lived in their van for 6 months.
I am a senior in high school. I am homeless.
I am a college graduate, a business owner in this community. I am homeless.
I am a Marine veteran, a mom of 3 little ones. I am homeless. We are homeless. My kids are living in different houses because we can't find a place to live together.
I am homeless.
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 I'm homeless.
We are homeless.
We are homeless.
We are homeless.
And we hope that these stories will change this community, that there'll be more awareness, there will be more compassion and more movement toward action and really loving each other. Thanks, Katie. Okay, so all true stories of people that you probably have seen before, but have not seen what lies beneath, right? You know, this is just our basic hierarchy of needs, right? Human needs. What do humans need, right? Food, clothing, shelter. That's our physiological need, food, clothing, shelter. So we have a lot of expectations for neighbors, for friends, for coworkers, right? That you should be responsible. And I hear that a lot, right? And I want you to know too, guys, that as we have developed the model for Love Our Community, it is a partnership model with families that we serve. It is not a handout, okay? We expect them to walk side by side. We say that all the time. We're never gonna walk in front of you and we're never gonna walk behind you. We always will walk side by side with you, but you have to take the steps with us. So food, clothing, shelter, basic human needs. We can't expect people, okay? One of the gals in there whose story, Marine veteran, very accomplished within the service. Thought, okay, we just get her a job, right? Just get her a job. She'll be okay. We'll help her do her budgeting. We'll help her. So got her a job here in the community. No-showed the second day. No-showed the second day. Guess what? She wasn't ready to go to work. She didn't know where her kids were going to sleep that night. They weren't sleeping in the same house. Food, clothing, shelter. You can't even get to security and safety until you have food, clothing, shelter. So that felt safety, that thing that oftentimes we take for granted, can't even happen until you have food, clothing, shelter. Go ahead. Okay, thank you. So here's where we land. Told you before, it started with an egg hunt. Crazy, crazy dream, right? We had fires in our community that same summer in 2016, so we started a clothing closet. We started the summer meal program, and it morphed into this nonprofit called Love Our Community that said, okay, what are we going to do? Because what we realized was when people are experiencing that housing insecurity, there are gaps. There are gaps in our systems. Right now, if you were homeless and you called our homeless hotline, so we have this county-wide hotline. If you called our hotline, they would say, you need to call back tomorrow. You need to call back Monday morning. So we realized there's these gaps. So we made housing stabilization part of our model. So we bought, many of you were huge parts of purchasing the former Lake Center School on Woodland Street. We bought that almost 2 years ago to have a missionary family there. We do a really good job in our community of thinking about missionaries and talking about missionaries and sending them globally. We don't oftentimes spend as much time thinking about what it's like to be a missionary at home. So that's one of the unique things about our model, and one of those things we want to help replicate. Remember in the beginning I said we want to help other communities replicate this eventually. We don't have it figured out yet, but eventually once we figure it out. But having a missionary family, what we're calling an anchor family, is key to our model to address the needs in our community, especially around housing and security. So we will commission a family to be missionaries right here. I'm calling them an anchor family because they'll be the anchor of those relationships. Because as much as we want to think we can, I can't be the relational connection for everybody, right? One person can't be the relational connection. It takes us all. So we bought the building with the idea of having that anchor family, that missionary family, and then having what's called transitional housing, giving people up to a year or so to live in a place where it's stable. Like we can get you in there, get you stable. Now, not talking about the person that has addiction issues that's not ready to deal with their addiction issues. They're not ready to come. Now, we're going to stand with you. We're going to walk with you. We're going to get you what you need, right, to get sober, get stable, and then when you're ready, yep, come on back. We're here. We're here. But people that are ready, and we have a whole process to go through that. So we bought this building. We had this beautiful vision for that building, and unfortunately, we were not able to get the zoning that we needed to renovate the building. So we sold that building, and we're embarking on a new adventure. Scary and exciting at the same time. So go ahead, Katie. So go ahead. This was just some. So here we are. Same mission, new locations. So our mission is still the same, you guys. We still seek to have a community that says, not in my backyard. Not in my backyard. I'm not going to, there will not be, my neighbors will not struggle in my backyard. And it's going to be hard and messy, okay? But it's okay because God has called us to do this, to be a missionary here at home. So we have the same mission. So anchor family, addressing all of the connections and the basic stability kind of things, but we're going to be in some new locations. So go ahead, Katie. So we were extremely blessed to have our clothing closet that was able to meet needs very quickly in the community. We work with the fire departments, the police departments, the schools, and we were also given a very small space at the marketplace to have our little LOC thrift store, where 100% goes right back in to mission here in the community. That was so successful that we now have a space on Sunnyside that we have called the LOC Warehouse. We're calling that the LOC Warehouse. It's combined our clothing closet and our thrift, and it also is what we will say more than a store. because it's a place to meet with people. It's a place to gather. We've had 3 people. We've been open. Tomorrow will be a week. And we've had 3 people walk in off the streets that knew we were there. And we don't even have signs up yet that said, my daughter's struggling. I don't know what to do. She's having her 3rd baby. She's going to be homeless. So more than a store. So it is absolutely a store, and 100% of any purchase goes right back to the mission, but it also is a place to connect. It's a place for people to come if they have needs. I know Nicole was here last week with you with Foster Our Community. She's been to our LOC warehouse twice already to get supplies for foster families in the community. One, a grandma that got custody of her grandchildren. So we are not about replicating, we are about connecting, connecting people to resources. So this is just one way that we do this. So new location. And by the way, I want to put this out there. Hartville Thrift has been an amazing, amazing partner to us, supportive of us. Phil is a mentor and a friend to love our community, as are many of the volunteers. I mean, over the years, the things that they have supported. We just talked about Easter eggs. All the Easter eggs, the 60,000 Easter eggs that we've had in the past, many of them have come from Hartville Thrift. But we are partners. So when there's needs, if somebody walks into Hartville Thrift with a need, Phil will call me. Phil will say, here, go to Love Our Community. Phil will also give us gift certificates to get things there that we don't have. So it's this beautiful partnership that we have in this community. Fish. I can get into the fish. If I need to get into the fish to get something, or Kelsey will come. Go ahead. So that's the outside of the building. We're on Sunnyside in that new building. Do you guys know where that new building next to the Red Barn, across from Summers Market? So that's where we are. So we took these 3, I guess we're kind of about looking at things and seeing possibilities, because these were literally 3 storage units that we took and we opened up. We had volunteers that came in, did this beautiful, beautiful renovation in there, they literally got their zoning permit or occupancy permit to have it as storage units, and we went in and took the walls out and got a zoning permit to have retail. But we're thankful for that, really thankful for that. So come see us, come serve with us. If you know anybody that has needs, whether it's Hartville Thrift or us, we'll figure out a way to meet them if it's clothing or things like that. Go ahead, Katie. Anybody know where this is? It is. Yes, Cleveland Avenue and Schweitzer. Yeah, right on the corner of Cleveland Avenue and Schweitzer. This is a property that has been neglected for a really, really long time. It's called Little Elk Trailer Park. Love Our Community is now the proud owner of Little Elk Trailer Park. Buy a trailer park, they said, it'll be great. I'm learning how to be a landlord. There are 6 families that live there right now. And you talk about unseen people, guys. There's people that have lived there for 35, 14, 20 years. And it honestly, and I mean no disrespect, but it has been neglected for so long, it looks like you are on a mission trip in Appalachia. And it's right here. It's right here in our community. So we are very, very excited about loving on the people that are already there, and also being able to have our same mission. So same mission, new location. So we still will have an anchor family. So this property also has a century house and a century barn on it. There's a big greenhouse that sits there. House that's green, I need to say, because I say greenhouse and everybody thinks it's a horticulture, but it's not. House that's green, and a barn. So the house will be the anchor family house. There's an apartment downstairs for emergency needs. You heard we've had lots of fires and floods and things in our community. We want to be a place that people can come with the clothes on their back and stay for a short period of time if there's an emergency. And then the barn will be a place for counseling and medical services. We endeavor to have our own not even on site because it sounds so impersonal, part of our team. We want to have mental health professionals as part of our team here in our community. So when there's something happening, they can respond as part of the needs right here immediately. Because it's hard. Like if you've tried to get into a mental health professional, it takes a long time to get in. We want that to change. So Little Elk will be a place for connection. It will be a place for stability. There are 14 trailer spots right now, crammed into a very small space. Many, actually all of them, but we've had a team in looking at them. Most of them, the newest one, I'll just say this and then you'll get it. The newest one was built in 1972, the newest one. So we're going to replace them. We're going to replace them with new trailers. It will give us a place for our transitional housing. Again, in relationship with that anchor family, and also we're hoping that the people that live there will want new trailers. We're not going to, we don't assume that either. We don't, because they have a lot of pride in where they live and what they've accomplished. So we love them right where they are. But Little Elk is our new location, and we're excited and anticipating great things happening there for our community and for the people that are there now and the ones that will serve in the future. All right, so love our community, support and outreach. We work with people in pre-employment, emergency help, and housing. Go ahead. Go ahead, Katie. But, and it takes us all. This isn't about any one person. This isn't about any one church. This is about all of us working together. We can't do it alone. God didn't intend for us to do this alone. Go ahead. Ways you can help. First and foremost, truly, you can pray. You can pray for your neighbors. You can pray for our community. That should be something that we're all doing all the time. And I also would encourage you and challenge you to pray for our own hearts, because it's hard. It's hard to take that step out of our comfort zones, especially in a community that is so amazing. Our community is amazing, and we've chosen to raise our kids here. And I want to be a community that says, not in my backyard. Go ahead. Christmas is still happening, looking different this year. We've set ourselves up to be COVID prepared, but there's work to do on that as well. You can find more information about that. I'll take some questions here in a few minutes, but and volunteer. We do need volunteers for that as well. Go ahead. And I will leave you with love God and love people. And it really is that simple. Really, really is. Go ahead, last one. This is my granddaughter. Isn't she beautiful? Love God, love people. It takes us all. Thank you. I'll take some questions if anybody has any questions. I know there's questions. I used to be a teacher, so I'm good at waiting. Yeah. Sure, absolutely. I'll try not to fall off the stage. Yes, so Love Our Community Christmas is a huge change in the way that we partner with families. So many of us are used to Adopt a Family, which has served families for decades. Love Our Community Christmas kind of turns that on its end a little bit and partners with families. So in the past, families have actually shopped for gifts for their kids. So they come and shop for gifts for their kids. There's a really, really great book called Toxic Charity. If you ever get a chance, read it. It's a great study if you're doing a Bible study or a group study. But talks about families feeling negative and less than with many models of charity, where this model partners with families. So they purchase gifts at a fraction of the cost for their kids, and they get to pick them out. Okay? So there's a video on our website that kind of highlights, you guys have been part of that. Blankets, the blanket making, they get a blanket, they get toiletries, they get book bundles and game bundles, and we have bikes, and we have, just beautiful, beautiful gifts. This year, it's going to look a little bit different. We're doing gift cards this year rather than the actual physical gifts, because we don't know if they're going to be able to shop. We don't know what's going to happen, and we needed to figure out a model that we could ensure that we could still get things to families to support their kids. All families are referred through the schools, the churches, or the fish. So it's not a walk-up kind of thing. There's a referral and a vetting process for that, with a focus on underemployed families. Because again, there's lots of gaps. There's lots of gaps in services. So, yeah. Nate? You guys can ask me anything, really. I'm good with hard questions.
Okay. Yeah. Kelli, this might seem like kind of a simple question, but when you pointed out the poverty, the things that causes homelessness, and you talked about the poverty, lack of housing, job, losing your job, healthcare, mental illness or whatever, substance abuse and domestic violence. It just occurred to me, and again, I just like for you to expound on this, that all of these are interrelated. If someone loses their job, I know as a man, men usually, and women do too, but feel like they are the leaders of their household, and you lose your job, that's going to work on your mental state, which can also lead to domestic violence and so on and so forth. I just wondered if you could expound on that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for bringing that up, Nate. It is all intertwined. It really is. And it's interesting. My board, so we're a 501c3 nonprofit, so I have a board of directors, and we meet regularly, and there's so much to do, and they're like, what do we need to focus on one thing. We need to and they're always like, Kelli, we need to and they're right, but that. What do you pick? Right? What do you pick? So because it's all intertwined, right? You have a mental health challenge, you have housing insecurity, you have job loss, you have physical. One of the things, so we have this really big intake process. So somebody calls, and we've had employers that have called and said, listen, I have an employee that's struggling, so we have this whole intake process that we go through. And some of the questions are, when's the last time you've been to the doctor? I just had somebody call for an employee, and she hasn't been to the dentist for, I think it was like 12 years, something. He called me back, and he's like, Kelli, oh my gosh, like she is smiling from ear to ear. She feels better. So all of these things are intertwined. So what do you pick? What do you pick? Do you live in your car? Do you keep your apartment? Do you eat? Do you not eat? There's a guy that from our community, veteran, former police officer, was homeless for a period of time, had his kids with him, and said he would give them the macaroni and cheese and then he would lick the bowl. So yeah, it takes a toll. It takes a toll. And if we create a community where it's okay to not be okay, maybe we won't get to that point. It's hard though, you guys. It's so hard. Because it's messy and it's uncomfortable. And mental health and addiction is hard. But I'll tell you, and you know what? I brought this up. I didn't even know if I was going to get to use it or not. But guess what? God has a way. Because here's what we know. We know, and this is really hard, you guys. I don't even know what time. I'm sorry. Am I trying to wrap it up? Probably. But this is so important. In 2019, here in Stark County, they did a community health assessment. 29.9% of students reported that they had been told by a health professional that they had a mental health issue. Almost 30% of students in Stark County in 2019 were the ones that got to the doctor. Local service numbers support this data as the number of children receiving behavioral health assistance has increased by 31% over the last 5 years. In 2019 alone, 11,052 youth received services by publicly funded agencies. Most troubling, between August of 2017 and March of 2018, Stark County experienced a rapid increase in youth suicides. During this time frame, the suicide rate in Stark County among youth aged 10 to 19 rose to 20 deaths per 100,000 persons. I never get okay with reading this. A year, a 217% increase from previous years. These are our kids. These are our future adults and leaders and business owners in our community. And if they experience this, you know we have too. Like, seriously, you guys, like we have. So we need to create a community that says, not in my backyard. Not happening. Because you're too important. Because our neighbors are too important. Other questions? Yeah. Brian, got a question here.
Could you talk about the maybe what opportunities are for volunteering in this organization?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So there's a lot of opportunity to volunteer. We are a place that anybody can volunteer. So we have a place for everybody. We want you to volunteer with your kids, your little tiny kids. We want to create a culture where it's just what we do. We just do. We serve. We serve together. We take care of each other. And volunteering is actually our strategy. It's our strategy. Because when you're volunteering and you're hearing the story of the senior in high school that's homeless, that came and got all of her stuff at our LOC warehouse for an apartment, that the money that we have from the sales of that supported her for 3 months while she got on her feet in an apartment in Alliance. When you hear those stories, then you start to change. Your heart starts to soften a little bit, maybe, or change, or become more energized. So there's a lot of places. You certainly at the LOC warehouse, certainly with our events. Really, guys, everything from social media to marketing to, and when I say marketing, I mean like storytelling. Like storytelling is so important, right? To helping with intake, like having medical professionals, mental health professionals that are willing to volunteer and do intake. Like right now, really, like it's me. It's me getting all those intake phone calls, and it's me in my car, or me on, I mean, it's a lot. And we endeavor to hire people to do that, but that takes time and resources to do that too. So we're getting ready to renovate Little Elk. You know, there's so many opportunities to be involved. And when I say it takes us all, I don't say that lightly. It truly, truly does. There is a place for everybody. But there's a whole back end to this, there's a whole front end to this, there's, you know, just even awareness among ourselves is an opportunity. I know that was kind of broad, but there's so much. So it's really finding what God has called you to do within the organization, really and truly, because there's a lot. Other questions? Okay. Thank you so much for having me this morning, for having our community have a voice in your church this morning. I'm going to stay, so I'll be happy to talk with anybody, and you can always call, you know, text, whatever. But thank you. Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot. While the others come forward, as I was listening, I had to think back to the book of Ezekiel, and we think of this as something a long time ago. Kelli mentioned standing in the gap. And think back to Ezekiel in the 22nd chapter. The children of Israel, as they always did, had gone away from God. And it mentions, as you read through that chapter, that they not only had left God, but they were even oppressing people that were poor and needy. I mean, they went way beyond just not doing anything. They were oppressing them. And in Ezekiel chapter 22, verse 30, God talked. He said, I look for someone among them who would build the wall and stand before me in the gap on behalf of the land, so I would not have to destroy it, but I found no one. And I think that made me really think. Think this morning, she's asking for us to be that person who stands in the gap between all these problems that people have and getting to a place of just living a normal, healthy life. So that's a good challenge for us. All right, we have one more song to do, and then we're going to dismiss for Sunday school.
Yeah, and if you guys want to stand and sing with us. Sorry, yeah, we're doing a backing track on this one, so.
Who breaks the power of sin and darkness, whose love is mighty and so much stronger, the King of glory, the King above all kings. Who shakes the whole earth with holy thunder, who leaves us breathless in awe and wonder, the King of glory, the King above all kings. This is amazing grace. This is unfailing love, that you would take my place, that you would bear my cross. You laid down your life, that I would be set free. Oh, Jesus, I sing for all that you've done for me. Who brings our chaos back into order, who makes the orphan a son and daughter, the King of glory, the King of glory, who rules the nations with truth and justice, shines like the sun in all of its brilliance, the King of glory, the King above all kings. This is amazing grace. This is unfailing love, that you would take my place, that you would bear my cross. You laid down your life, that I would be set free. Oh, Jesus, I sing for all that you've done for me. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy, 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 yeah. This is amazing grace. This is unfailing love, that you would take my place, that you would bear my cross. You lay down your life, that I would be set free. songs I sing for all that you've done for me. All that you've done for me.
Amen. Isn't that true? If it wasn't for Jesus, we couldn't do any of this. We can give people food, we can give people housing, we can do all that, but without Jesus, it's worthless. All right. Well, thanks for coming out this morning, and we're going to split up now into our Sunday school groups, and Lord bless you.
Yeah, I can hear me too. I was like,
probably picking up some off the other one.
right. Yeah, I think that.
You're covering for me, but then she comes up here.
Oh, it's not on.
I'm sure it sounded really great over the.
I'm sorry. I didn't intend on leaving.